Lately, we've been seeing quite a few of these videos pop up saying that Last Epoch is too easy or not challenging enough, and therefore it's losing its value and fun. But what I think is most important is that people can find a way to incorporate themselves into the game to feel part of it. And that's what really makes a game good. That shows me that developers have thought deeply about how to organize information so that there's a structured layer upon layer that you are going through in order to feel that you are increasing in skill, that you are learning how to use mechanics inside of the game properly, and you're able to adjust and make decisions that show you as a person that you are actually part of the development itself. Now, of all the videos that I've been watching lately, the one that I admire the most is here with Rhykker. I think Rhykker has a lot of positive points that he's putting out here on the table, allowing us all to understand exactly what it is that makes the concept work. It's not about whether it's too easy or too hard. It's about whether or not you as an individual can find your way inside of the game. Let's take a look, and I'll be commenting throughout the video.
And beyond, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Now let's jump right into the Last Epoch news. As we went into the first weekend of Season 2's launch, we saw a slight bump in peak concurrent player counts. We hit a bit over 150,000. I did expect things to go a little higher than that, but nonetheless, good numbers. Since then, we've settled back down to around 90,000, which is a pretty normal trend for ARPGs after a season launch. It's comparable to the drop we see in Path of Exile after 1 week. And we'll come back to this in a bit. Now, as we said, there's been a lot of chatter about difficulty lately. Some players are complaining that the game is too easy, that getting to level 100 shouldn't happen in a day, for, the crazy blasters at least. But not everyone agrees. In fact, a lot of players love that Last Epoch doesn't feel like a second job. I think it's good that we have different ARPGs that cater to different audiences. PoE is the ARPG for real grinders. Last Epoch doesn't have to become PoE. And PoE 2 doesn't have to become Last Epoch either. Is Last Epoch a game that the grinders will be done with rather quickly? Yeah, possibly. But I see a lot of people reporting in saying they have busy lives and they want to be able to fully enjoy an RPG without needing to devote 20 plus hours a week to gaming. And I'm going to avoid using the term casual here because I think that Last Epoch offers a degree of depth and complexity that non-casual players can really enjoy.
Now, I'm glad that he makes this point because there is no middle ground between blasters and casual players. I guess you could say like semi-hardcore, but I mean, nobody ever gets labeled in these ways. And I want everyone to also understand the importance of how diversity makes competition, which makes the industry grow bigger. Now, you get these guys who are blasters who are able to have vast amounts of knowledge or skills that they've acquired somewhere in the past by playing games, and they're able to apply them to new games as well. This isn't really a new game. It's been out for a long time. So more or less, these people have not only had experience probably in Last Epoch, but also had experience in games like Path of Exile 2. Now, the way these two games are separating for me in terms of that casual blaster side is the fact that when you get thrown into a game, you need to have some kind of structured, organized way of learning how to proceed through the game so that you feel like you are incorporating yourself into the character that you are creating. If you are not feeling this, it becomes very frustrating and it becomes very unfun for people to play the game for much time at all. And I think that's what you found with Path of Exile 2, especially with the latest update. I don't hate Path of Exile 2. I think it's a beautiful game, and I think they have a lot of things to offer the ARPG world for the future as they're developing things down the line. Now, the problem with Path of Exile 2 is for new players or people who don't have a lot of time to dedicate and put energy into the game, you don't find many mechanics to teach you how to play the game. It's like you're just thrown into the arena and you're having to fight through everything and try to discover everything on your own. I like to summarize that and like compare it to learning a language. If you can imagine going to a Spanish class or another foreign language class, whatever it is that you pick, you sit down in the class. If your instructor is just randomly talking about various topics and you don't have a textbook and you don't have people around you to kind of help you, everyone is just equally as confused, you are going to find that learning that language is going to be more frustrating and difficult than if you had that textbook and you had the instructor saying, okay, this is day one, we need to start here. And after day one, when we learn how to do greetings and other simple structured ideas inside the language, we then will move on to a more difficult grammar set. And then we will start learning different grammar sets around that area until we've gotten the basic foundation of our language put together so that we can build to a more intermediate level game, or class in that case. And then you would move that intermediate to the advanced, on and on. I could go on for hours about how this works. The chain of education is known as scaffolding, or it's part of the concepts of structuralism. Now, when you look at Path of Exile 2, there is no scaffolding put there. You're literally thrust into the world. All the armor that you pick up is random. You don't know what it is. You have to like use a certain spell book to unlock what is on that item. And then if you want to change it, you are randomly just getting random stuff that pop up. Now, this is their decision. And this is the way Path of Exile has done stuff in a long time, or GGG has done things for a while. So you can't really be critical of it. A lot of people love it, and they find that randomness to be the enjoyment in life. However, you're going to find there are also people out there that enjoy having information taught to them so that they can fully understand how they can take something from the very start and finish it at the very end. And in doing so, all their decisions and their deterministic values of what they want their character to be are being reflected as this is occurring. So I think we have two different games, two different styles of development, which are trying to incorporate people in two different ways. Now, you never want those to just become the same, because when you do that, competition falls off and everything is just boring. It's just everything is the same game, which in this case, if the blasters are saying it's too easy, that means they want 60% of the gaming population in Last Epoch to also suffer so that they can have fun. This is just not the way the industry works. Now, let's just take some time and listen to more, and I'll comment on things again here in a second.
I would not say that Last Epoch is catered to more casual players, but rather to players who don't have either the ability or desire to spend 5 hours a day playing the game.
My point
Even
exactly.
Then, though, things really do ramp up once you're into the meat of the end game.
It does get harder.
Content and fulfilled before you reach that point. Thanks to Last Epoch's pace and various systems like the Circle of Fortune for target farming gear, it actually feels realistic and achievable for an average gamer to build up multiple characters.
And this is it. That campaign at the beginning of Last Epoch seems to be short, but the real meat and potatoes is really in the end game of Last Epoch. You are literally learning how to create your character in a easy, controlled environment until you start reaching those monoliths where things start becoming more complex, depending on how much knowledge you have of the game.
So, is Last Epoch too easy? Well, whether it is or it isn't, a roughly 30% drop-off in players after a week is, again, comparable to Path of Exile, which is not too easy. So, it doesn't really matter if it's too easy, if it has the same retention as a game that is not too easy, right? Now, maybe you can argue that retention would be even better if it wasn't too easy. Maybe all the blasters are the 30% who are done with the game and have fallen off.
No.
But we can counter-argue, Maybe if we made it harder, then we would keep the blasters, but lose the people who don't have the time to devote to the game.
Exactly.
And the Last Epoch devs actually released this infographic, which says that 49% of all characters created in Season 2 are Sentinels. Sentinel is the most OP class right now, so again, how many people are saying the game is too easy?
I mean, just a quick side note there. When you look at a development team putting out patch notes for the update or the new season, whenever you see there's a new class that's being like reworked and really focused on, you are instantly going to know there's going to be some OP features on that class, because it's just this way in all games. So yeah, I mean, the Sentinel, especially the Void Knight, just got really platformed out in front of for everybody, and it's an exciting class to play, but it's also been the central focus of this development team for Season 2. So I mean, go figure.
But I'll clarify, ultimately I would not be opposed to making the game more challenging. I just want to ensure we don't have a knee-jerk reaction and end up breaking something that is working fine for a lot of people. Another thing that may make the campaign feel so easy to many people is the Nemesis system, through which you can pretty easily get exalted modifiers on gear much earlier than we used to. So imagine getting, an exalted weapon at level 10. Yeah, you're gonna crush everything for quite a while with that item. So all this is...
I just want to say, you don't even need those items to achieve. Once again, crafting is so transparent and so straightforward in this game that if you know, by just taking a brief second to like mouse over your skill and seeing what the scaling stats are or the scaling affixes are for your class, like you can literally just pick up a common item and you can craft something into it to instantly improve your class. And that's what makes it beautiful, is you feel your class evolving and becoming more powerful, and you adapting to its playstyle as you are working your way through the game. You're not just hoping for something random to happen. And once again, I'm not throwing shade at Path of Exile 2 for doing that. That is their style and their format. I'm just saying, whenever you have a game which is intuitive and well designed and offers a learning mechanism inside the game for people to use and pursue a future in it, you're going to find that the vast majority of people like it. And the only people who are not going to like it are the ones who are already so adept into this type of game that they do just blow through in one day and they don't care about the game anyways. This was going to happen regardless.
Say there's a couple different things going on that may be contributing to people's perception or even experience that the early game especially is too easy. But not everyone may be equally benefiting from these factors. Now, there's also an argument to be made that the campaign can be so easy that it does not adequately prepare you for empowered monoliths.
I know where he's going with this.
Speaking of, I wonder how many people who say the game is too easy have yet to reach empowered monoliths.
Exactly.
Even the Lagon fight is the first huge difficulty spike currently in the game.
You'll find this in heaps of games. I mean, I've actually fell victim to it myself. Even recently, I fell victim to it playing RuneScape Dragon Wilds, where I only got like 2.5 hours in, and I thought, this game is just, I should just be playing Enshrouded. There's not much to it. Until someone kept telling me, give it more time, try to get deeper, see what the dungeons and things come out. And then you start seeing like a beautiful thing developing out of the system. A lot of people just jump in and they kind of have a good understanding. I mean, if you think about it, how many people have migrated from Path of Exile 2 to Last Epoch for this? If you've played Path of Exile 2 to any extent, if you've made it past, say, Act 3, your knowledge of how to like organize and put down affixes in a way to make you succeed are so vast compared to what somebody who has never played the game before. So you would, even if you're just transferring from Path of Exile 2 with like mediocre success, you are going to have great success in a game like this because it is created for people who just have started playing ARPGs, and they are learning their way through it. Of course, it goes deeper than that. Like, it's not just for beginners, but what I'm trying to say is it's intuitive enough for a beginner to learn how to do stuff. If you don't need to learn these small little basic mechanics of the game, you just fly through it easy. And what happens? They get to monoliths, and typically what will be the case is they've thrown different parts and pieces together and it's not working all the way that they want it to. And they say, do I really want to take the time to reorganize everything, shift all of my points, and grind out those extra pieces of gear so that I can make this work? The game was kind of easy. I'm just going to move on. Let me tell you, you're in for a shock if you think Last Epoch is easy when you get to in-game bosses.
The next would be at Majasa, and then it's basically smooth sailing until you hit empowered monos. Now, Judd, the boss of the HG, chimed in on Reddit saying, quote, "We're not looking to make the early campaign overly difficult, as it should be easy enough for new players to the genre not to be immediately alienated, but it should also present challenges. Right now, we feel it may be too spiky when real challenges are presented, like with Lagon."
And it is. You can work. The thing that I love most about Last Epoch is you don't have to be a PhD in ARPGs to make it to in-game. Anybody can make it to in-game with what they're using. It's when you get to in-game that you start feeling some kind of pushback, really. And what I can say is there is a massive spike between even hitting empowered monoliths and getting into these boss fights. So it is pretty vast. They could flatten that out, but I don't see them ever increasing the difficulty of the other parts of the game at all. I think that those things are actually perfect the way that they are.
So maybe we're going to see a bit of a smoothing out of the difficulty, which is reasonable. But we also have to remember that something easy for an ARPG veteran, as many of us are, may be challenging for an ARPG noob.
100%.
And at Gamescom, I saw plenty of players try out Last Epoch and enjoy it and report that that was the first time they ever played an ARPG. Also, if you want a more challenging campaign experience, the game actually has a built-in hidden hard mode. Early in the campaign, you reach the old
Don't
road.
do it though. Don't do it.
There's a bear you kill in a cave. Now, before you exit that cave, there's stalagmites to the right. You destroy those to reveal a path forward. You're going to go through a couple more
This
bears,
is a good tip, by the way. It's a very good tip.
And then you're going to find a pair of boots that
Very
make you
good
deal
tip.
less damage and take more damage. And they also have a move speed modifier that scales with your level, so you can keep these boots on throughout the campaign, and your move speed is just going to naturally increase as you level up. Because of course EHG has a solution to things.
Yeah.
But moving on from the
Little Tower Games is
discussion,
great,
the
dude.
updates
They
to the end
think
game
through it
have
all.
been great. The Weaver Tree, absolute hit. Champions, fun. Tombs and Cemeteries, okay, maybe getting a little samey. Could probably use some more layouts, tile sets, monster variety, but overall the vibe is that this season is ridiculously fun. Quality of life has also been a major win.
Fabulous.
Auto-sorting stash tabs, intuitive gear filters, being able to find everything you need, every resource to explain game systems, all of that in-game without needing to rely on third-party resources is just great. Oh, and speaking of the loot filter, all we're really missing now is the ability to customize the sounds and minimap icons. Would be nice for that to also be worked in, you know, to reach feature parity with the PoE loot filters. Oh, altogether, between the satisfying item chase, the more casual pacing, the powerful offline mode, and the crazy improvements this season, a lot of players are calling Last Epoch their new ARPG home. I think Last Epoch currently has the best.
I'm going to say all this is just legit exactly where it should be. Like, Rhykker, thank you so much. That was a brilliant take on exactly what we should be thinking about when it comes to Last Epoch and whether or not Last Epoch is too easy or too hard. Because I don't believe at all in my heart that Last Epoch is at all too easy. I think there are challenges, and I think that there are easy moments as well. What I do say about it is everyone that I've migrated over from Path of Exile 2 with loves this game. We all see that there is not an infinite amount of content that's going to keep us stuck to Last Epoch for years without going and finding other games to play, obviously. But what we have found is a game that's very straightforward, well designed, has a good structure, a good platform for people to pick up from absolutely nothing, or if you have an understanding of how things work, the tooltips, the quality of life functions, everything is in that game, right? And there's plenty of resources on the outside that you can use to help make loot filters if you don't feel like doing it, and other things along these lines. But what I can say is Last Epoch is not too easy. It's just a game that's adapted for people with a different mindset of what they want in an ARPG than Path of Exile 2. Once again, thank you, Rhykker. If you're out there and you ever watch this, you did a fantastic job of breaking this down. And I would have to say, there's no one else like you in the world to think through these things. Just as well, I want to thank all of you guys for coming, showing up, watching this. If you have any comments or things that you want to throw into this video, please feel free to do so down below in the comment section. Otherwise, everybody, keep on wondering.